I'm a dude, and I'm inviting you to join me on a podcast about brews.
Does that include stouts?
Yes, of course it includes stouts. Like I was saying, join us every Saturday on the journey into...
Wait a minute. Do you guys do anything about like IPAs?
Yes,
Stuff like that?
yes, we do IPAs.
Okay.
Yes. Anyway, join us on the Journey into Comics Network for Brews with Dudes.
Whoa, hey, have you guys ever... Do you care if I bring some Zima on?
Yes, I care if you bring Zima. Zima doesn't count. Zima's... Dr. Dongo. Anyway, join us every Saturday for a podcast that delves into the craft brew world.
The following
is a journey into comics.
Journey into comics.
It's a journey into comics.
It's a journey into comics.
Journey into comics.
Journey into Comics.
Network.
Production.
Hey, this is Josh Richmond, and you are listening to the Voice of Survival podcast, exclusively on the Journey into Comics Network.
You're listening to the Voice of Survival podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, your host, Nate Phillips.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Voice of Survival podcast. As the introduction said, I am your host, Nate. Today joining me, I have a very special guest, the voice of Thundercleese from the Brak Show, Frylock from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Welcome, Carey Means. How's it going?
Hey, that's a hell of an intro, sir. You do your job good.
I do okay, I guess.
Oh, yeah, Nate. It's going great.
Well, I'm glad to have you, man.
How are you? How's the weather where you are? Because the weather where I am is gorgeous.
It's
here in Georgia.
It's actually bullshit here. We suffered that crazy, minus 50-degree wind chill stuff last week. And today it's raining, and it's like 40 degrees outside.
Oh, my God.
So, it's
oh, man, that sucks.
But
it's a balmy 79 here where I am, sunny.
Well, that's good. I mean...
Yeah. The Super Bowl was here last weekend.
Yeah.
You remember that NFL production?
Do you celebrate the Super Bowl?
When a team is in it that I want to watch play it.
Okay, so what's your team?
Well, I live in Atlanta, so I have to root for the Falcons,
Okay.
But I'm originally from St. Louis, and they just kicked the Rams out, and they went back to L.A. and ended up the Super Bowl. They lost, but still, that's a feat in itself. The first season they come back from being in St. Louis, they go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. And
it didn't even sound right to me, though, the St. Louis Rams.
No.
Hey, that's a nice segue, right?
Yeah.
I was born in St. Louis.
Yeah, so let's talk about that.
I was born in St. Louis.
Yeah, what year were you born?
What year was I born? The year of the horse.
The year of the horse.
Chinese zodiac.
Oh, goodness.
Yes.
Okay.
That goes by whatever year you were born. I was born in 19...
Okay, that's fine.
But you can look it up on my IMDb page. It was 66. That's the year I was conceived.
Excellent. 1966.
Or hatched, as some might say hatched,
Okay, and
I'm a year younger than the Super Bowl, so, So when I get too old to remember how old I am, somebody asks, what Super Bowl is it? That's what I'm going to say. And they'll say, well, it's Super Bowl 99. Well, I'm 98.
Hey, that's a good way to remember it, I guess, right?
That's what I'll tell them.
And even if the game's boring, you still have something to celebrate.
It was boring. It was a snooze fest. Did you watch it?
Well, parts of it, yeah. I was... I'm a Bears fan.
You were jazzed about the halftime show, huh?
No. Oh, heavens, no. Oh, no. That was maybe worse than the game. But anyway, yeah. So what was it? Go ahead.
No, go ahead with your question, sir. That's why I'm here.
Sure.
What was it?
I was going to ask, what was it like, growing up in the 60s? Did you have siblings?
Growing up in the 60s. Well, I was born in '66, so the '60s were halfway over when I, came out of the womb. So I wouldn't really say I grew up in the '60s. I would say '70s, '80s.
Okay, fair point.
Was my growing up period of time. So I was in on the beginning of hip hop and Parliament Funkadelic and all that. Those old songs back in the day. That's why I laughed when I found out Swim had cast T-Pain to play me as Frylock in that final episode. It was the last one forever and ever, they said.
Yeah, the live episode.
Yeah, that was T-Pain playing Frylock, and that was right after he had just gotten all his money for creating this robot voice augmenting thingy that he didn't really create.
The auto-tune, craze.
Yeah, auto-tune, that's what it was. But they were using that back in the 70s, George Clinton and all those guys were using that voice augmenter back then. All you got to do is listen to those jams like Planet Rock and all that stuff, and you'll hear it. But that's telling my age, going way, way back. We're going way back to Bunga Bunga days.
Okay, so
Bunga Bunga Bunga.
You get into talking about Parliament Funkadelic and whatnot, and how you were into that music. So does that affect your love for?
I was also in the Queen, Billy Joel, Steve Miller Band. My sister listened to all of that. Elton John.
Oh, awesome!
All of those groups growing up. So depending on what part of the house you walk through, you would hear different music.
Oh, that's excellent. So really
my father would be playing Bob Marley one minute or some Coltrane the next, So, jazz, blues, and I played the trumpet when I was a little shaver back in the day. Yeah, they start you off on a French horn, that big ass horn, the French horn. You got to lug that around. It's usually bigger than you.
So you were a band kid too. That's excellent. And you started.
No, not necessarily not band, but I was learning how to play the trumpet.
Okay.
I never got to the band because I transferred to another school that didn't have a music program. So that ended that. So I stopped playing the trumpet. My mother wanted me to sing in the choir once they dropped before my voice changed. I sounded like my sister Karen. I'd answer the phone and be like, "Hey, baby, what you doing?" I'm like, "This is Karen. I'll go get her." And I go get her, and talk to her, whatever. And then when my voice changed, I answer the phone. I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, oh, hello, Mr. Means, you doing? So that was fun.
Okay, so you got into.
They had this song that came out called Atomic Dog.
Okay.
When I was in like the 6th or 7th grade, right? Bow wow wow yippee-yo yippee. So when my voice changed, I could do the bass line. So the bass riff is always used to go bow wow wow yippee-yo yippee bow wow yippee-yo yippee. So my classmates would be like, Carey, do the Atomic Dog. And I found out I could do all these voices to the administrators in the school and mimic their voices. Like we had this one guy who had a very nasally voice. He get on the PA, Andre Reynolds at the office, and I could do his voice pretty good, like Smithers on the Simpsons. That's what we would remind you of when he would talk. But there was no Simpsons out there back in the early 80s, when I was in high school or whatnot. But anyway, that's the thing, man. These schools are getting shut up now. Well, I went to high school in the 80s in St. Louis, right? Pretty rough neighborhood by any standards today and then as well. And we were greeted with the wands every morning, with the, metal detector wands. Every morning. Before you walked in, you couldn't get past the security guard without being waved with one of those wands looking for weapons. And that was in the 80s when I went to school. Mr. Price actually went to my high school, not the same time as I did. I'm not that old. But, yeah, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still there. I'm just listening to this lovely story.
You're awfully quiet.
No, I was...
You're awfully quiet.
I was
like, what happened? Did he die? Did he croak?
I did not croak. I've not yet done that on an interview.
Okay.
No. I was thinking about it, and it's just like, it's crazy to think about having the stress of not being in the best neighborhood influencing you while also, because there's a lot of pressures in... Well,
let me tell you, early in the morning or when I come home in the afternoon, cartoons were always on TV. I was influenced by Mel Blanc. I call him my Uncle Mel. I got another Uncle Mel, Mel Brooks. I was influenced by him. Those old Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis movies, Abbott and Costello, Marx Brothers, Three Stooges, Curly, Team Curly. only. The Three Stooges, you know what I'm saying? I got some of the DVDs sitting around my house now. I pop them in every now and then.
That's funny. I just watched
for inspiration.
I just watched a Three Stooges bit last night. It was I cannot remember which episode it was. One of them was trying to eat clam chowder, and the clam was biting back at them.
Oh yeah, the clam always. I love it when the inanimate objects go after them, like the sandwich. You see the olives be eyes, and the sandwich, and the pickles with the tongue, or whatever the hell.
So you utilize television as a beautiful escape.
When I found out Mel Blanc did all these voices, see, the thing is, people just think Mel Blanc just was like automatically Bugs Bunny. That ain't the way it went. You know, he knocked on Warner Brothers Studios doors for about 3 years, and they kept slamming the door in his face. You need any voice talent? No, slam. Need any voice talent? No, slam. You know, they kept slamming the door in his face. Finally, the guy who was slamming the door in his face finally croaked. True story. Finally passed away. That always gets a laugh when I make cons and I tell that story.
Yeah, people.
I don't even say croaked. I say died. And people in the audience just laugh. I'm like, why do y'all think that's funny?
People are cruel, and they're like, he got what he deserved.
They laugh at that part. And I'm like, wow, it always amazes me that people laugh at that. But anyway, you didn't, and I said croaked. I was trying to get a laugh out of you, but I couldn't. You're a tough crowd.
Oh no, I'm just
take my wife. Take my wife. My wife may have, a little bronchitis or something. She went to the doctor.
Man, that's
check on her condition. She's been working nonstop though. If she ain't working on her day job on the phone, she's working with me.
I feel like
helping me set stuff up like this, auditions. Because I got a home studio now, and I built that up. You know what I'm saying? It's not as hard as you think, kids, to do this. Some of y'all out there know how easy it is now. It's not easy to do it, but it's easy to get into it, doing the voiceover stuff. It involves and entails a lot of reading aloud. If you're a bit of a class clown, you could fit right in to this business. I'm not saying that go pull pranks on somebody or nothing like that. I'm just saying that do some improv, go to some improv classes. Not necessarily theater, but hang around theater people.
Okay.
Sitting on some of the improv skits and participate, because it's top of your head. A lot of this stuff comes right off the cuff. You know what I'm saying? They'll throw a script in front of you 9 times out of 10 that you've never seen in your life. They say, go, we want the character to sound like this. And you don't have time to come up with nothing but the voice. You know what I'm saying? You can reference, sometimes you get a reference to what somebody sends you. They send you a reference and you go from there. Most of the time you don't get a reference. You just have to, like Frylock, I tell you how I auditioned for that. I moved here in 93. Let me fast forward my life a little bit there. Yeah, I started singing in the choir when I was in high school. You got on TV and stuff like that. I wasn't singing the church choir, though, growing up in St. Louis. My mother begged me to sing in the church choir. I was like, that's for square, that's for nerds. That's what I was saying to myself. But I was a huge-ass nerd. I just didn't realize it, because I was reading all those comic books, like the first Secret Wars that came out.
Yes.
And all that. That's when Spider-Man got the symbiote suit.
Heck yeah.
That's a lot of people don't realize. They think it came from a meteorite. No, it didn't. It came from another planet. True, but
Secret Wars number 8, baby. What's up?
Yeah. And then there was a suit. I think Mike Zeck did the cover. I saw some blurb somewhere where he's going to be at some con. Yeah, that's Mike Zeck's art. Mike Zeck did a hell of a cover too with Captain America. I think it was Zeck, if I'm not mistaken. He had a Uzi, and he was just spraying.
Oh yeah, I remember that cover.
I used that cover as an art project.
Really?
When I was in college, yeah. Because we had to do a pencil shading project. Yeah, I was a commercial art major in college. See, I'm bouncing all around here, so maybe you can edit this together later.
It's okay. We let the conversation flow naturally, so we'll get.
I was a commercial art major in college, right? So I don't know if you see my posts on Facebook where I post sometimes original pieces of artwork that I've done, Aqua Teen themed stuff.
Yes, I have actually.
The last one had the Aqua Teens. Everybody had like a joint or a blunt in their mouths or something like that. That went out to my boy Gert B. Frobe.
I love it. That was awesome. That was actually his.
He wanted the marijuana themed Aqua Teen poster. So
You said, sure thing. Let me accommodate
Yeah,
you.
yeah. He paid his hard-earned money for it, so, Which, by the way, if somebody wants to order something from me, check me out on Messenger and Facebook. I just added a new photo or two, some new pics. One is Carl with the Aqua teams in the pool. He's standing by the pool, probably about to say, "Get the hell out of my pool." But, I started off doing bumps, what they call just sound bites for different shows on Cartoon Network. I managed to come out. Funny story, how I got my agent. I was doing plays. I was doing theater here. I did a lot of theater here when I first came to Atlanta. I came here in 93 from St. Louis, right after I graduated from college. I spent about a year and a half bopping around St. Louis, doing a little theater here, a little theater there, and just trying to see what I'm going to do next. And my buddy talked me into moving to Atlanta. He got everything here means, that year the Super Bowl was coming here too. The year I moved here.
Wow, that's cool.
But the Falcons were playing in that one. The Falcons played in that one and lost. But, yeah, that year I moved here, man, and started doing musical theater and theater. My first autograph I signed, I played a Walter the Loose Goose. It was like some other goose tales we put music to. And, have you ever seen these troops that go through these elementary schools and sometimes high schools?
Yeah.
And do like a 15-minute show just for the kids. I don't know why they booked high schools. That was always awkward.
Yeah, because the high schoolers are a hard
Whenever
sell.
we went to the high school kids, they just be sitting there like, okay, this is for kids. And I'm sitting there like, yes, it is. But they would sit there and watch it. But you know what I'm saying? But it was crazy. First autograph I had when I was doing that show, some little kid came up to me with his father, like, can I get your autograph? I was like, yeah, sure, okay. It was cool.
That's
was
wild.
And I've done the Ren Fair, the Renaissance Festival. I don't know if you've ever been to one of those.
Yes, absolutely. Bristol's not too far from here. So.
Talk like Thor. They all talk like Thor. Thee, thou, and thus, fair maiden, I shall save you from the dragon.
And you drink mead,
or
damn
whatever.
It.
Mead. Well, they must have had hard cider.
Yeah.
That was the one that was for me. They had some type of hard cider on tap. At the end of the day, you do the dirty pub scene with Naughty Nellie Peach Bottom. She know who she is if she hears this. She didn't have a peach bottom too. It was Georgia Gal.
Oh wow, nice.
But I didn't get friendly with her or nothing like that. I was focused on the mission. Being Sir Richard Do-Good, the most chivalrous man in all the land. That was my role. I stole that from an old ham director I had back in St. Louis. And he was from the west side of Chicago, 6'5", African-American male. And he talked like this, Kenny, give me more feeling with that. Del Maximilian Robinson.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
Yeah, every day, all day, twice on Sunday. So I took that persona and ran around the Ren Fair here in Atlanta with that back in 95. Then I started, like I said, when I was doing theater, this girl kept coming late to rehearsals. It's like I just came for an audition. My agent booked me for this, and I was like, who's your agent? So she hooked me up with a pretty decent agent. Rhonda Burns is her name. She's semi-retired now. But, if you Google her, she might respond. She might be taking on new talent. I don't know. Burns Agency out of North Carolina.
That was a great soft plug. Love it.
Yeah. Soft plug. That's the only thing soft on me, so the plugs. But anyway, so I started doing bumps for Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z. I think I was the person that told everybody about Goku's death the first time Goku died. I think Goku died a couple times. Anyway, I was doing Samurai Jack announcements. I was the announcer for the first incarnation of Samurai Jack. On the next Samurai Jack, check gets into this, so that, and the other. Tune in. That was me doing those. If you remember, the first time Samurai Jack came around.
Yeah, that's.
I was doing the announcing for it, for the show. And anyway, some production assistant, at least at the time he was a production assistant, heard me doing these, bumps and announcing for Samurai Jack. He ran to Matt Malero and Dave Willis, the co-creators of Aqua. He was like, "Get it, this Carey Means guy. He'd be perfect for this show that you're doing about these food products, this box of fries you want to cast, and all that." So I was working for a market research firm in the northern part of Atlanta, Sandy Springs, called Booth Research. I can say the name now because it's defunct, no longer in effect. no longer active business. But we laid the groundwork for a lot of stuff that we use and do now, like cell phones and cable. We did a survey. I remember we did a cable survey. It can last up to an hour. And I would tell people, you know, we're going to put your name in a hat for a drawing of $500 if you participated. Most of them would say, yeah. It was really crazy. So, you know, questions would be like, what would you think if you could fast forward, rewind, pause live television in a few years? Think you'd be able to do that? Do you think in 10 years they won't have a cell phone? Highly likely, somewhat likely, extremely unlikely. So you can imagine I got hung up on a lot.
Yeah,
people were having their dinner.
Yeah.
But just those questions alone, you know, we're doing that. Everybody has a cell phone now. You can pause, fast forward, and rewind live TV now. We were laying the groundwork for this stuff back then. We were doing the surveys, like, you know, what's that other one? Gallup polls. It was like that. It was just questions.
And if people would respond and gave you actual responses, you could...
Yeah, that's back when the Monica Lewinsky thing was going on.
Oh. And
the OJ trial. That's why I was working for that market research firm. I worked there for like 7 years.
Oh, excellent.
And they fired me, and I couldn't get my unemployment from good old Georgia.
Well, that's rude.
I was like, wow. You worked for 7 years. You can't even get a pity check every week. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what? They blocked me. But I learned a lot, and I auditioned for Frylock in the break room. Back in the day, kids, there was these things called fax machines. They made a funny noise.
What the internet used to sound like.
Digital stuff used to come over the phone, and yeah, that's why I got the Rabbi script. Fax machine, at Booth Research, and I'm in the break room, going, no, people, don't get the jam box. And I'm like, what is this crap? I'm not going to get this guy. You know, I'm not getting this gig. It came down to me and one other guy, and the other guy was too droll, too boring, too dull to become Frylock. And so I became the floating box of French fries with laser beam eyes, Jack.
That's
and
crazy.
The rest, as they say, is history. And then I was doing Thundercleese around the same time. When they find out I was classically trained, you know, Shakespeare and all that. I sang with the Atlanta Opera Chorus, the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra Chorus, respectively, here in Atlanta. Been on the Fox Theater stage a few times. So I've been around the, you know, performance circuit here in the city. And that's what prepared me for doing the voiceover thing, really. It's just being on stage and singing and performing in front of a live audience. It's the biggest rush. It's the biggest drug for me. I need to get back into doing some theater because it's so gratifying. It just doesn't pay much unless you're on Broadway or off Broadway or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But here it doesn't really justify the means. Now back then when I was in my 20s and stuff, I was running around doing all those plays in those schools and stuff. Yeah, that was fun. 20s and 30s, and I'm an old man now. I can't be running all over the place. Unless you pay me some Hollywood money, I could do my own stunts like Tom Cruise and John Wick.
Oh,
you know, they in their 50s, they still doing it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, you know, 50 is the new 40, 30.
It seems to be the case. I mean, people seem to be getting younger. I was going to ask you, though, you were talking about doing musical theater and whatnot. One thing I know that I looked up, and I want to discuss it, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask about it. You did South Pacific.
With Robert Goulet.
Oh, how was that experience?
And Paige O'Hara. Paige O'Hara, the voice of Belle from the original Disney adaptation of Beauty and the Beast.
What was that experience like for you?
She was quite taken with my voice, and at the time I only had a little rinky-dink cassette demo for voiceover because it was the 90s, man.
Yeah, you had to do it.
Voiceover stuff was not happening here much at all, or anywhere really at the time, except for L.A., you know what I'm saying? And it's still a place to be. Now they've branched out to Texas, doing a lot of video game stuff out there and stuff, but then at that time, you know, she was quite taken with my voice. And this is like, you know, the voice of Belle from Beauty and the Beast cartoon. It like wants to hear more of me. So I sent her a little rinky-dink garbage. Oh man, If I heard it now, I'd be so embarrassed. I know why they didn't call me, wherever I sent it to.
Yeah, but you got to start somewhere. I mean...
Yeah, I know, right? I know. Well, you know, some of the greatest comedians have bombed, and they'll tell you when and where. You know, Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Did you know that?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, I love that you brought up him, Jay. He's one of my favorite basketball players of all time. So, yeah, Jordan's story is incredible. Not worthy to play basketball. Goes to North Carolina, becomes a machine.
What's incredible is his teammate who was trying to protest during the Rodney King trials, and Jordan at the finals, and Jordan and Magic was like, He was like, come on, man. Magic was like, it's too extreme. And Jordan was like, she crazy. I ain't finna give up my shoe deal. It was, man. It was during the Rodney King. I can't remember the guy's name. He was like the second highest scorer on the team right behind Jordan. He's like mastered the three-point shot.
Oh, was that
I can't remember.
B.J. Armstrong, maybe?
I think so, something like that. But they got rid of him, man, because of that shit.
Man.
They got rid of him shortly after he was trying to, like, you know, do a Colin Kaepernick before Colin Kaepernick was doing the Colin Kaepernick, basically.
Well said, yeah.
You know, that goes back to the Olympics when they put the power fist gloves on, and, you know, when they won the gold in the track and field. They were protesting injustice then. You know what I'm saying? This ain't nothing new. I don't know why people are flipping out saying this is some new shit. You know what I'm saying?
It's just, I think...
And then Big Boy ought to be shot for coming on with that old nasty-ass 16 bars of that garbage-ass song. I like the way you move. It was Sleepy Brown up there for 30 seconds. I'm like...
It wasn't very good.
I love Big Boy. I don't mean to diss him. He's an AT alien. I live in Atlanta. He's cool. He's got a little solo album out. He could have done something from that, but it was basically the Maroon 5 show with guest stars. Big Boy and that other boy, whoever the fuck he was.
I didn't know who the other guy was either.
I don't know. I guess I'm out of the loop. There's too many mumble rappers around.
Yes, another topic we could.
But what? And it'd be the same line over and over. I'm like, okay, that's innovative. That's original. Whatever happened to lyricism? What happened? What happened to style, finesse? Where my lyricists at? Where's Method Man? Where's the Ice Cube? What the hell going on?
There's only, there's only a few modern guys that I think are lyricists, like Hobson, Joyner Lucas is another great example.
See, you know more about it than I do. I'm way out the loop. I don't know. You know
those two specifically.
I'm old school.
Hey,
Eminem.
Eminem's amazing as well, but you grew up in the era of like hip hop being born into the world. You saw the
I see the ups and downs, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
So
I told myself in the early 90s, I said, no, I'm not going to be a rapper. There's too many of them already. I'll do something else. I should have been a rapper. I'd probably be an Oscar winner. I'd probably be an EGOT right now.
Okay.
If I'd have started rapping back in the, I'm not just, saying, but the last season of Aqua, I wrote my own lyrics for the intro. I don't know if you remember the very last season we did.
Was that the Aqua TV show?
Hunger Force Forever. No, that wasn't the last one.
Force Forever.
It was Aqua Teen Hunger Force Forever. Yeah, that was the last one.
That was season 11. My bad.
Yeah. Well, they killed me off, and there's two alternate finales. One where Frylock dies, and one where he lives. And they're on YouTube and Hulu and all over the damn place, man. You can find them. If you haven't seen them, check them out.
That's got to be a weird experience, too, to be a voice of a character beloved by so many people who...
Man, look, I've heard so many stories and so many, from so many perspectives. People telling me that I've got them through some of the toughest times in their lives. Those are the really touching ones. People who come up to me at certain kinds that I've done back to back in years, and the next year they're not there anymore. The person who was with him was like, he was dying of cancer anyway. He just wanted your autograph before he left here. And stuff like that, man. To really tug at the old heartstrings, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I have to sit back and realize that it was just more than just doing the box of floating French fries voice with laser eyes. It was something that touched so many lives. It was crazy.
I mean, you guys did.
And I don't realize it. You don't realize it until the people actually come up to you and tell you this. You know what I'm saying? I'm not making this up. People have come to me and told me this, and I'm like, wow, really? You know what I'm saying? Okay.
And
I've had 10-year-olds, 9 and 10-year-olds come up to me and tell, yeah, I know that show. I'm like, what? The show's older than you, kid. What your parents said?
Why'd they let you watch? I mean, I guess and that's a great segue.
Mom be right there. I'm like, naughty mommy, naughty mommy. Hey, I can't control who watches the show.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
But I mean,
I can't control who watches the show. I still don't know how we got away with Dickinson. I don't know how we got away with that one.
I mean, I think you guys were innovative for the time and definitely pushing the limits for the time. And that's a great question.
You know,
now I don't
we put out a video game. We put out a video game for PS2.
Yeah, I have it.
It was called Zombie Ninja Pro-Am. You know that the video games ratings board wanted to give that game an A for adult rating when it first came out. Yeah, somebody told me this. A good friend of mine was like, yeah, they wanted to get his game an A rating. I was like, man, so have you beaten the game? Have you played through it all the way?
No, it's just a game in my collection. It's one of the many things. I'm a video game collector at heart, so it's just one of the things I collected along the way. It's on the list to eventually play. Yes.
You're a video game collector.
Yes, sir.
So how many video game systems do you have in your house?
I own almost all the major systems except for like the Sega Saturn and the Jaguar.
Man, your electric bill must be a bitch.
No, I don't keep them on all the time, and I don't play them all at once.
I'm just kidding with you. No. I got my PS3 sitting on top of my PS4.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right here.
My PS3 died, tragically.
Well, I had a backwards compatible PS3. It was the big, bulky black ones, if you remember those.
Yeah, that was mine, too, and it died.
It was one of those. Yeah, man, it died easily. But, see, I've been wanting a backwards compatible ever since they started this crap, where you got to change all your games when a new version comes out.
It's like when it's all disc. It's like when it's all
Don't
disc
get me
based.
started.
Yeah.
They don't want you to join PlayStation Plus to play online now. I'm like, I ain't doing that.
Not for $60.
PS3, I didn't have to join PlayStation Plus to pay online. Why y'all doing this to me? Screw that. Y'all ain't getting that money. If I want to, no. They re-released the PS1.
Yeah, the PS1 Classic is strange.
I'm like, why don't they just make a backwards compatible PS5? The next PS whatever should be backwards compatible.
If it can read a disc, it should read all of the previous
go
PlayStation
all the way back
discs.
to one.
Correct.
So that would be worth every penny. I would run to the store and buy it.
I
really would.
Fully.
So that's the only thing they need to do. And then instead of making new models, just get the upgrade. You know, get your upgrade with it, and keep it. PS Infinity.
Yeah, you could have PS4 ever, right? PS4 ever.
Yeah, or whatever. You know, it's gonna be a 5, so you know you got to name it something snazzy. You know, 5, just PS5.
It rolls
PS5,
off the tongue.
and you can backwards compatible, make it backwards compatible. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about.
Okay, so I want to ask, you were talking about people who come up to you and have all these nice things to say and what it means to you, and that has to be weird because to you, the moments of creating Aqua Teen are in a booth, behind a microphone, with the directors, maybe with some of the other guys in the cast, possibly. And it's you doing work. It isn't this, like you said, the same as these people who have moments in their lives that are impacted by this television show you're a part of. So it definitely has to be strange to reflect on. Yeah, I remember sitting in the booth recording almost all these episodes.
Yeah, I do, actually. Almost. But I've met some fans who remember each and every detail of each and every episode ever.
Oh, that's also got to be terrifying.
It's interesting.
Because, I mean, even you don't know all this stuff.
No, I don't. The fans know the show better than I do. Trust me. Believe it. They do. What? You remember episode blah, 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 when you were blah, blah, blah? I was like, no, but you do. Apparently, you got video footage. You know what I'm saying? what were you thinking when this and that and this? I'm like, look, kid, I just showed up and read the script. That's a misconception. That people think we're all in one big room. Like, I think McFarlane might do that for Family Guy or whatever, but we don't do that. We only did that for the commentary, behind the scenes stuff. You know, when we're commentating on what you're watching or something like that, or the little movie vignettes that we did. That's the only time we all got together. And they usually flying Dana Snyder, Master Shake in from some other place on the continent. So, you know what I'm saying?
All right. So see, and that's a great lead-in, because as you said, most people think it's everybody in one room, and you guys are like feeding off the energy. You guys were
not even for the movie. It was just the movie to me was like one long episode.
You were just
in the
booth doing your lines.
Yeah, it was doing what we normally do, and I never see the script until I go into the booth. 9 times out of 10, you know, some people are kind of diva-ish. What I mean by that is I must see the script 2 days or a week before I do it. I couldn't make those type of demands. They were like, look, can you be in the studio Thursday to record for Aqua Teen, 10 o'clock? Yeah, I'll be there. But see, now it's a lot different now because, you know, a lot of people got home studios, including myself. I got a home studio now. So I don't even have to go pay for studio time to go do auditions. They can just send me the copy. The one when we do the audition, just send it to me, and I send it back whatever format they want it. Bada bing, bada boom.
From the comfort of your home.
Yeah, I have to get out of my pajamas. But that's how it is now. But it wasn't like that then. Like back in the 90s, I had to go to a studio. I went to a studio called Cat's Paw. You walk in there, you record. And the engineer was quite taken with me. He was like, yeah, this me and one other guy, they call us Soul Brother number 1 and Soul Brother number 2. Because they white guys who could do black voices.
Okay.
And he was telling me this in confidence, you know, and I was making my demo, my VO demo, you know, and he was telling me this stuff. And he was like, yeah, yours came out better than most of our commercials. Let me do it. I'm like, I should have asked him for some work right then and there. I was dumb. Huh? So what's up? Give me a job.
Yeah, like, let's get this started. Where's the pay? Like, let's do this.
See, I was green, though. I didn't know nothing about nothing. I just knew I had to make a demo to get voiceover work. I didn't think about working locally.
Or working your way up the chain,
yeah, I wasn't thinking about that at the time, but I should have been, because I almost was a DJ at my college, Link University, back when you could fill out the FCC card and send it off, and they send your FCC notification back that you're in the FCC. Now it costs thousands of dollars. That's what people say. Why don't you join SAG? I'm like, you got $3,000?
For real? That's expensive.
I joined SAG. Sure. I had 3G. It's more in Alabama. There's a guy who had an actor friend of mine. I'm not going to say who he is. I do know his name. But he lives in Alabama, but most of his work is, you know, SAG gigs in Georgia. But he had to join the Alabama division to get into SAG in Georgia, and it cost him like $4,500.
Whoa.
Yeah. And it only costs you like $2,700 here.
It just I feel like they make you guys go through some loops and hoops for no reason.
But I'm like this: if I land another gig like Frylock, sure, I joined SAG then. But that was paying like great when it ended. But when it started, it wasn't even paying $700 an episode. Yeah. I was lucky if I got $700 an episode when it first started. You know, same thing with Thundercleese, the Brak Show. That was like $580 per episode back when it started. Yeah.
I mean, it's
no residuals, no kickback,
nothing from
nothing
DVD
on the back
sales
end.
Or any of the merch sales.
No.
See, that's.
And I heard the same year they canceled us in 2016, Aqua Teen started airing in Australia. So there's an Aqua Teen, there's an Adult Swim Australia that started airing Aqua Teen. The same year they canceled us in 2016. It was like, yeah, Carey, we got something to tell you. I was like, what? This is Matt and Dave, the co-creators of the show. We're going to be canceled. I was like, what? And they did it kind of craftily because they waited till after I recorded for the episode that they called me in for.
Oh, man.
I wonder how that recording would have gone had they told me before I walked in the booth.
Oh. Would you have done it, I guess?
Yeah, I would have done it.
Yeah, I mean,
it would have been a different recording, though. I'll tell you that.
Maybe
they would have got some ad libs. They would have had to delete.
Letting some of your frustrations fly.
It was very Freudian of them to wait until after I had recorded the session to tell me we were being canceled. So I was like, "Ooh, I know what we can do. This is me looking them right in the eyes and telling them we go to another network like Family Guy, Futurama. They don't want us back." They both looked at me square in the face and said, "We don't own it."
Ugh.
Talk about the Three Stooges. I want to give them a Mo slap right across both their faces, right there.
Go for the iPod too, man.
The Mo in me wanted to come out right there. But see, Ted Turner got some hella lawyers, and they're smooth and fast talkers. That's all I got to say about that. You got to think how young they were when they signed those contracts to get the green light to do the show.
Correct. They didn't know what they were signing away.
Like Prince, when he was 17, and Warner Brothers was like, "You're great, kid. We're going to get you that purple Cadillac. We're going to get your mom that new house. Just sign this. It'll be encyclopedia thick. Don't worry about reading it right now. Just sign it." Then when he wanted to break away and do his own thing, it was like, "Oh, we own you. We own Prince. We own the image. We own the name. We own the rights." That's why he put Slave on his face and changed his name to a symbol when he released that album and won his name back in the court of law. That's what had to happen because they did. They owned him. And when they told me that, I was like, okay, we're done then. Yeah, people ask me all the time, is Aqua Teen going to come back? I was like, it's up to the fans. You know what I'm saying? They have to make a loud enough noise to Adult Swim to bring it back. Matt Malero and Dave Willis, they wrote a sequel to the movie, I heard, called something game, Death Game or something like that. I can't remember the actual title. But something about Death Game Tournament 3000, some shit. They come up with crazy stuff.
Of course.
And they were going to start a Kickstarter for it, but it fizzled out. They just said, screw it. And then Adult Swim is going to let us do some, like those old Rankin Bass, Rudolph, the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Okay.
The specials that used to come on, yes, Carl, but a Lusky, there is a Santa Claus, and something like they was going to do a few specials with the Aqua Teens, and they would have turned that down. But I kind of don't blame them for that, because that's kind of like dangling a carrot.
You're cheapening.
Yeah, and then, hit the road, guys, we're done with you, you know what I'm saying? After that, it's nothing else. So he was like, screw that, we ain't doing it. I ain't mad about that. Now, they told me I'm bringing our show back. That's another thing, but it's up to the fans, man, to rally and try to make it happen before it's too late.
Yeah,
I guess.
I mean, time is always ticking.
I mean, we've already lost Clay Croker, the late great Clay, my buddy, fellow artist, hell of a thesaurus when it comes to anything comic book or most genre film related, anything like that. He was the voice of Dr. Weird and Steve and Zorak and Moltar. He designed Frylock and Meatwad. Oh, man. Sometimes I sit back and think about how bad I might have felt that Adult Swim did me, which they really didn't compared to Clay. They did him pretty bad, you know what I'm saying? But that's that. You know what I'm saying? It goes back to what I was just talking about. But I ain't got nothing against nobody over there. I don't really know nobody over there no more. My phone don't ring from that for those offices anymore. But that may change soon. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know, man. Who's in power? I tell you,
that's changed. That's changed a lot.
Yeah, I would say the thing that could, talking about what we have in the modern era, your 2019 and how shit works now or whatever. I think for me, the thing that would be really awesome is if somehow Adult Swim comes to terms and releases Aqua Teen to, say, a Netflix, where you guys can really give that show your 100% without having the censorship worry. Because I feel like while you guys were trailblazers then, now if...
You remember the episode about standards and practices where they had the nun get decapitated and the rainbow came out of her?
Yeah, instead of blood, absolutely.
Instead of blood. Yeah, we touched on that then.
I mean,
and standards and practices, acceptable, unacceptable, or whatever.
So, I mean, I guess...
But, that's what was so amazing to me about Dickaso. Even the one where they rainbow pixelated all the dicks, Wongberger was still a dick.
Yep.
He was still a dick. His feet were balls. You know what I'm saying? His body was a shaft. His arms were pubes. His head was a tip. They didn't pixelate him.
No.
So,
Cutting edge. You guys were cutting edge. It's funny that you mentioned...
For a long time, I'm telling you a little sidebar of this. For a long time, on my IMDb page, it said Dick Means. And it pissed at the time, my girlfriend, now she's my wife, who she called me during this interview, by the way, and I feel pretty bad because I didn't put you on hold and answer the phone. I hope she was okay. Love you, baby. But anyway, she was infuriated by this. And I was like, no, baby, no. All they got to do is put the word B-I-G in front of it. Dick Means, I'm cool with that.
There you go. Yeah, hell yeah.
Like, no. The reason why was some intern or some captioner for IMDb, I guess. I'm going to just blame it on an intern. It was like, oh, he's named Dick Means. Looked at the credits for Dickaso, I guess one of the shows. And that was the one he looked up, because if you look at the credits for Dickaso, everybody's name is Dick Means, Dick Snyder, Dick Willis.
Brendan Smalls made a cameo in that. He's Dick
Malero.
Smalls.
Yep. Of course.
Oh, that's a funny mishap on IMDb.
Yeah, for a while I was listed as Dick Means, and they finally fixed it. But I'm like, that's the only thing I can figure. Some a-hole didn't know any better. Found the credits for one of the Aqua Teen episodes. Oh, he Dick Means. That's his name. But type that in. But it's a trip. It's a trip. How much time we got left? Are we done yet? Or
no, man. I have a few more questions if you'll take them. I'm
listening.
Talking about your time doing voice work, you did Thundercleese, you did the thing for Samurai Jack, you did bumpers for countless different television shows that were...
Whatever it was on at the time, yeah, Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, whatever.
Across the board, was there ever an audition or a role that you did aspire to get that you didn't get, that you've always looked back as like, damn it, if I would have just landed this one X role, Shredder from the Ninja Turtles, hell, I don't know. Like, whatever it was there anything like that that ever got left on the table?
Not yet, really, but I did try to get a Christmas-themed Boost Mobile commercial that Steve Buscemi got instead of me.
Oh, damn it.
And they wanted me to do it, in Frylock voice. And I swear to God, it's the only audition in my life that I ever got paid for.
Whoa.
And, they sent me a check. I guess the guys felt bad. They thought I nailed it. And I guess the muckety-mucks at the company went with Buscemi. Anyway, he's a gingerbread man, and his son wants a Boost mobile phone. He's like, well, yeah, why don't people stop eating my house? He's like trying to fix his gingerbread house. And I used to see it like every year. Like every Christmas, ever since the audition, I would see it. And I was like, man, I guess he needed the money more than I did. I don't know. But those guys auditioned for it. They was like, yeah, do it like Frylock. And I did it. And I didn't get it. And they sent me a check for it. So I was like, okay. On the one hand, I lost a hell of a gig to Steve Buscemi. On the other hand, they sent me a check for an audition. That never happened before.
Getting paid. That's cool.
And I was the voice of the Honda Element car when they came out with those tricked out Honda Elements to compete with the Scion. They had these spots where the car was talking to a moose or a rat outside of a nightclub, and I was the voice of the car. And they had other people doing the voices of the animals and inanimate objects or whatever I was talking to. That was back in 2006 or something like that, I think, back in the day. Okay. That was pretty lucrative because I was getting checks from that, residuals, When I was doing that show on Nickelodeon, Welcome to the Wayne, which I don't know what happened to. It was nominated for an Emmy, didn't win. And it it had some pretty good legs underneath it, I thought. Myself, Dana Snyder, Dave Willis was in it. And it was basically the Aqua teams toned down for the kiddies on Nickelodeon. My character's name was Jonah Bishop and sounded suspiciously like Frylock. Dana Snyder's character's name is Wendell Wasselman, who's basically a little mini Dana Snyder running around the cartoon world, who attacks vampires with spoons that he controls telepathically. And Dave Willis is the doorman, George, who sounds a lot like Carl. Hey, welcome to the Wayne. A lot of people likened it to Gravity Falls. I guess they were saying it was like a rip of Gravity Falls or whatever, but I've never even seen Gravity Falls. I don't know. But
Me neither.
we had old girl. I think we had the girl who was like Ash Ketchum from Pokemon was in it.
Oh, Victoria Taylor?
I think she was one of the main characters in it. But it was a pretty good show. We only got like 2.5, maybe 3 seasons out of it. And I talked to the guy who created it. He basically wanted the Aqua teams to be in his show. He was a fan growing up. Him and his brother would sit and watch it. And this is him telling me this, man. He went full fanboy mode on me when I first talked to him on the phone. He was like, yeah, I want y'all to be in my show. And I was like, okay. So he had me doing all kind of stuff. I'd had to do Sigmund Freud's voice in one episode.
What? That's awesome.
Yeah. He called me up and said, why don't you do Sigmund Freud? And I was like, okay. First thing I thought was, what does Sigmund Freud sound like? You know what I'm saying? I know he was German.
Yeah.
That much I know, but the cadence of his voice and the pitch of it, I didn't know none of that. So I had to, me and my wife now, at the time she's my girlfriend, we researched what Sigmund Freud would sound like. She found this old beat up video. You know, looked like it's from reel to reel of Sigmund Freud interviewing somebody. But it was too grainy. You couldn't understand what he was saying. So we did the next best thing, that is, and researched it through Star Trek The Next Generation. When Data was having problems with his emotion chip.
Oh, that's clever.
And he went to Sigmund Freud on the holodeck. I think it was the Tasha Yar episode or whatever when he, got busy with Tasha Yar. And he was talking to Sigmund Freud in the holodeck about it. So that's when I got the cadence for Sigmund Freud.
That's very clever.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yep. So one of the characters from the Wayne has a line that's talking about there's something going on deep in the bowels of the Wayne, and Sigmund Freud is sitting on a park bench with an earshot, and he goes, "You said the bowels."
Oh, that's wicked.
And that was it. That was the whole line. That was it. But I still wanted to get his voice down. You know what I'm saying?
You're not going to go into it half cocked and just say whatever. I can do whatever voice.
Another Freudiism half cocked.
Ah, very, very good. Yes. Totally unintentional. No pun there. That was not by any.
Well, you gotta stop them when they come by. Otherwise, they fly right over your head, boy.
You're right.
Foghorn Leghorn.
Hey.
I keep pitching them. You keep missing them, son.
Man, I love how ingrained cartoons are into your personality. Like you talk about Mel Blanc and doing the old school Warner Brother cartoons and stuff influencing you as a kid, and moving forward into doing your different theater and whatnot, and all the different roles you took on there. But I got to know, was there any person when you were in your era of voice acting? Has there been any one celebrity or I guess famous person type that you have been able to work with that's been like, wow, I didn't, this is a cool job, but I never expected to work with blank?
Not yet. When you say work with, I assume you being in the same production or room with. That hasn't happened as of yet, but I really can't think of anybody.
Well, I mean,
in that vein, except for maybe like a James Earl Jones or somebody like that. I'm a big fan of him, his voice and everything. Little known fact about James Earl Jones, he had a speech impediment when he was growing up.
Really?
He stuttered. Yeah, he had a horrible, terrible stutter. He could barely get to a sentence, but obviously he overcame that.
I mean, one of the most legendary voices in nerddom.
Yeah, they just recently redid The Lion King, and he's, of course, Mufasa. And that ought to be interesting to watch. I guess they just CGI the lips on the animals now. They don't put the peanut butter in their mouth like Mr. Ed.
Yeah, they can afford to
I'm
CGI.
Mr. Ed. Man. Wilbur.
Old school black and white TV at its best.
Yeah.
Andy Griffith Show and whatnot. But okay, so let's get into the last little couple questions I have here before we go. The real one I want to know is there something coming up for you, some upcoming work you have going on that you can talk about that you want to promote here or discuss?
None that I can talk about, no.
Nothing that you can talk. So it's all under wraps. I love it. That means there's...
Yeah, it's under wraps. Seriously, though, it is.
I love secret projects. That's great.
I just been plugging along, man, just auditioning here and there, looking for the next convention. Matter of fact, it says here you're in Illinois.
Yes, I am.
You know where Primary Colors is in Lincoln, Illinois, the comic book shop?
Yeah.
I'm going to be there signing autographs in a few months. I think it's, when I'm going to say this is going to occur. It might be somewhere between April and June.
Cool.
If you look up Primary Colors, talk to the guys over there. They look it up on Facebook. You'll see my mug shot.
Okay, let's look it up
there. Yeah, I'm going to be Lincoln, Illinois. I think it's April 13th, the weekend of April 13th. The Primary Colors in Lincoln, Illinois. It's a one-day thing, so you guys listen out there, come check me out. I'm going to be there signing autographs and being my French fried, lightly crispy and salted self.
And having to answer a lot of strange fan questions, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm different in the flesh than I am on the phone.
Okay, so...
Somehow that didn't come out quite right, did it?
No, it sounds fine. You're doing great. It says here...
I'm different in the flesh than I am on the phone, baby, yeah.
Saturday, April 13th from noon to 4, you will be at Primary Color Retro Relics in...
you found it.
In Lincoln, Illinois. Yes, it did, of course.
Yes.
Excellent.
I will be in the house, so... Come check me out. Get an autograph. Get a pic.
Yeah.
We can talk some smack, talk some shit, and hang out with the Fry Man, baby.
I love it. Well, I want to say thank you so much for being a part of the show. It's been a pleasure to talk to you and learn about your story.
Pleasure's mine. Pleasure's all mine, sir.
Before we go, I like to do the plugs before we get on here. So as always, folks can check out the Voice of Survival podcast right here on the Journey into Comics Network at journeyintocomics.com. Get us on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music, or Spotify. Just search Journey into Comics Network or patreon.com/Journey into Comics. Give us $1 for early access and exclusive content. For those of you giving us $1, you're getting this episode about a month early, so be excited for that one. And I think that's going to do it for this episode of The Voice of Survival. Carey, thank you so much for talking with me, man. It's been a pleasure.
Not a problem, man. You have a good one.
All right, you too as well. Take care, folks. And this has been The Voice of Survival. I'm Nate. Later.
Peace.